I get it done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.
The Warrior Code, why purpose, discipline, and brotherhood still matter. What's that got to do with anything? Well, stick around and you'll find out. My guest is an expert in that space. Going to be fascinated. You are, I guarantee it. It's not a money back guarantee, though. Anyway, thank you for being here. If you're watching us live, appreciate that. Remember, hashtag replay if you're not watching us live. And in all cases, please subscribe, share, and comment. And if you have a question, a comment, put it in and we'll deal with it as soon as we can. If we see it right away, we'll deal with it on the show. If we see it in the replay, we'll respond then. And also, if you find that there's value in here, when you get to see who's my guest is, you're going to have access to him. So reach out, connect with him, and connect with me. Let's make the world a little bit better. And enough with that. Let's get on with the introduction. They've added a new feature into my platform here. It's quite fascinating. So I'm going to try it for the first time today, see how it goes. I'm excited. Oh, not that excited. What did I just do? We'll be right back because I got to do this first. Here we go. I'm ready now. So today's conversation is one you won't want to miss. We're talking about something deeper than metrics, marketing, or margins. We're talking about the kind of inner strength it takes to lead in life, not just in business. My guest today is someone who's helping men around the world wake up, not just to their potential, but to their purpose. Rob Fenstermaker is the founder of Kingdom Builders and the creator of the Warrior Forge. He's built a global movement that empowers men to lead with clarity, courage, and conviction. In just a moment, we're going to bring him up and he's going to share his story. I'm going to ask him some questions that's not prescripted and we're going to go from there. You're going to help rediscover your brotherhood and forge a little of the discipline it takes to be a strong leader. So whether you're a founder, father, or a man who feels like he's been coasting instead of conquering, pause for a moment, think about what I just said. Let me bring on my wonderful guest, Rob. Here you are.
Here I am.
We had some
I've made
technical
it.
Yeah, we did. We had some technical glitches in the green room, but between the two of us, we warriored on. I stole
As
that.
we warred on, you know what that's just like, because life is never going to go the way you want it. There's always going to be bumps, and sometimes you got to figure out, how do I get over this? Do I go through it? Do I go around it? And we figured it out. That's part of life.
It is absolutely. As we were saying in the green room, it's not what happens to you in life, it's how we respond to it. And what I like about what you're
Exactly.
doing with what you're talking about is helping men. I know I'm not dishing any women. I know that there's a lot of women get together and they do some things differently than us guys. They seem to be
Hmm.
able to support each other more openly, more connected. And you're not the first guy I've run into that's helping men, better husbands, better fathers, better leaders, just a little bit
Yeah.
happier, right? So I'm excited to find out how the hell did you get started in creating all of this?
Well, it goes back probably. Let me think. It goes back at least 25 years. I kind of had an epiphany in life, and I realized, well, it goes back a little bit further than that. I had an epiphany in life that if I didn't become a better man, my marriage wasn't going to survive. So I had to start doing those things that, kind of took me towards what it really means to be a man. And the idea of being a warrior, something that had always really resonated with me. And I've had some people challenge me, well, so you just want to go out and fight everybody. No, that's not what being a warrior is about. A warrior is very calculated in how he engages, but more importantly, what a warrior does is he creates that solid foundation in his life to take his stand to protect those that are behind him. So I really did the hard work on myself and just figured out what is it I wanted out of life. I was kind of going through the motions, just settling for what I believed I need. I believe the lies that the world wants to tell you. Get out of high
Yes.
school, go to college, get a job, get the nice white picket house, and all is going to work out. Well, I did that and got married and started having children right away, and um, something was just missing there. Something was really missing, and what was missing for me was relationships with other men, that brotherhood. And once I really started connecting with other men, I just realized there was a different energy there. And because I think conversations that we men can have with other men is there's something very different about that. We can be, we can be true to who we are. We can be authentic. We can be vulnerable. And not to say we have those same type of conversations with our significant other, but sometimes as a man, we need to understand that there's other men that have us. So to kind of circle back to what you say, I've had the opportunity to lead different men's groups, to facilitate men's groups, and be a part of men's groups for over 25 years. And I just know the energy and power when men come together with intention, and not to drink beer and talk about sports, but to really dig into life and what life is about.
Yeah. So I want to go back to something you said because there's a lot of stuff in that soundbite, and what spoke to me was I'm not a martial artist, but something I've gleaned out of that is a martial artist with the black multiple degrees has the ability to kill you with a finger, apparently.
Mhm.
But the cool thing is they don't. They can if
Right.
they need to, but that gives them a calm assertiveness to be a manly man or a womanly woman because it's not
Mhm.
gender specific. But it's what I'm getting from what I heard in this soundbite is there's some similarity in the sense that where you're not you're helping men with this, not with
Yeah.
this, right? Similar to
Exactly.
martial
That's
arts.
it exactly. That's it exactly. And you kind of go back to that martial arts, the great martial artists, they are disciplined to the nth degree. And some people think that discipline is such a bad thing. No, discipline, as a man, you need to have discipline. You must be disciplined, because a man who's not disciplined is just a little boy just kind of, trying to figure life out. And I always go back that, the word disciple and discipline, they're basically the same word. And when you're a disciple of something, the 12 disciples of Christ, they were sold out to that mission, that message. When you become disciplined and you become a disciple, you are sold out to whatever it is you want to accomplish. And
What I
pursuing
like,
what you want, there's just an energy in there,
yeah, what I like about
because
what you're saying,
yeah.
like you're reading my mind. I was thinking I should ask him, how, does he have a definition of discipline? Boop, there it is, popped right in.
Yeah. And those discipline to me it starts with the rituals that you do each day. My morning time is precious to me. And I get up early. I'm an early riser. I've always been an early riser. I get it, when my children were still at home, I was up before they were, because it was my opportunity to, get ready to engage the day. I've never been one of those people that can jump out of bed and race down the stairs, throw on their pants and shirt, grab a cup of coffee, jump in the car and get out. I wouldn't know how to negotiate that day. I mean, I've got to be up literally an hour before I really want to engage my day. And what I do in that time are my morning rituals. And those rituals are so important to me. I have my prayer time, I have my devotion time, I have my journaling time, and I love to read. And I'm very intentional about that. And it helps me to set the tone for the day, because every day in and of itself is unique. That's the way I look at it. Life is
Yeah.
unique. We're all unique, and every day is unique, because there's never going to be another day like today. This is it. This is your one and only opportunity to engage in this day. So how are you going to do it? Or if you're worrying, if you're just hanging on to what happened in the past and dragging that along, or you're worrying about tomorrow, you're missing what the opportunity of today has. And that's what part of being a warrior is about. You release that baggage from the past. Yes, our past is who we are. That's part of our story, but it doesn't define us. And if you're sitting here worrying about tomorrow, here's the irony of worrying about tomorrow: there's no guarantee we're getting a tomorrow. So
Yeah,
live
isn't
for
that the
today.
truth? There's a poem called The Dash, and the purpose
Yeah.
of the dash is everybody has a dash, we just don't know how long it is. Um,
Right.
when you think, without naming any men that you've worked with, do you have an example of where you've aided a man, you supported a man, or a man supported you even, that you could
Mhm.
share with our audience?
Well, it's been, I've had, men in my life who supported me, and I have supported other men. And, I think what's important when you support other men, and the thing that's so vital, is true accountability. In order for me to have someone else hold me accountable, I got to be authentically honest with them. I must be honest with them. It's just as other men want me to hold them accountable. they must be honest with me. I don't care what's going on. Just be honest. If you're going to kind of lie about it, then that trust is gone. And that's what's so important about um, that trust is the glue of accountability. Because I have found, and it's I think it's probably true for a lot of people. There's always one person we can never hold accountable, and that's ourselves. We
No,
can say we're we can say we're going to do something, but if we don't have somebody holding our feet to the fire, is it going to get done? Is it going to get done?
it's funny you should say that. Of course, I don't have one in front of me, but I have the longer version of my intro and outro. Um,
Yeah.
One of the things in there is I keep my word to myself. And when I was working with the musician, artist, and writer, he said, "Well, I don't think I like that." And I said to Larry, I said, "Larry, who's this about?" He goes, "Oh yeah, right, sorry." So I actually have something in there that speaks to what you just said. I keep my word
Yeah.
to myself because I
Mhm.
found up until now, recently, that I would keep my word to another man, another woman, another kid, whatever, more so than I would keep my word to myself. And that was pointed
Yeah.
out to a fellow that I was studying 30 years ago and have ever since. And he said, what you're saying is keeping your word to yourself is is important to do as much as even more so than to other people.
Yeah. Yes, mean what you say and say what you mean. If you're going to say
Yeah.
it, then follow through.
So I want to go back to the question. You didn't answer it the way I was hoping. So I'm going to dig a
Okay.
little deeper.
Okay.
I was truly
Yes.
looking for an example without naming anybody because it's not about that, but a real live example where something transformed yourself or another man that you can share
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah. I mean, I can think of clients that I've had the opportunity to work with, and a lot of times it comes down to what we're really focused on is leadership. And to me, leadership is one of those things that yeah, we all talk about it, but you know it when you see it in action. And I've had
Yeah,
the opportunity to work with some leaders, and I think what makes me most excited is when I see somebody I'm working with and we're working on that and they finally get it. You can see that when the light goes off
okay,
and
that's what
they
now you're getting to where I want to get to. Can you get more a
yeah,
little without telling? I don't want to know who they are because most
yeah,
is private, right?
yeah.
But what was that experience that you helped that person? The light bulbs came on, whatever it is.
Well, one person I'm thinking in particular, he had a team that he was leading and he was just really struggling because one, he lacked his confidence. He lacked
Uh,
confidence in his ability to lead. And, he was put in that position for a reason. And that's what I would share with him. You're there for a reason. Uh, I believe you. I believe that you can do this. You just got to start believing in yourself. And once he started believing in himself, he would start challenging himself. He would start stretching himself. He would start taking some risks in his ability. And once he started doing that, his team responded. His team responded in a powerful way because they respected him. And as a leader, he had built that respect, but he was just lacking that one final thing, and that was the confidence in himself. And once we were
yeah,
able to get him over that hump, he took off. And he actually exceeded me where I was at in my leadership level, and that made me joyful
that's awesome, isn't it?
because it is awesome. Because when I work with people, and I've worked with people in the past, my goal is to have them be wildly successful with what they want to do, what they want to accomplish. And once I saw him do that, um, it to me, it's I can say I was part of his journey.
Yeah,
What I did empowered him to become who he is today. And that's knowing you're part of somebody's story, knowing you're part of somebody's journey. Um, that's legacy building. You talk about the dash, and I've always thought about this. I always thought, we all have all these apps on our smartphone. And I've always thought, wouldn't it be brilliant if I could invent an app where I could go to a cemetery and put it on somebody's, headstone where it's got the day they were born and the day they were died
yeah.
and that dash could tell me everything about that person's life, everything they did, every success they had, every failure they had, everyone they loved, everything about them. Um, I've always
What's
just,
in
I've yeah, I've always that dash is such a powerful metaphor.
If you could get into think, yeah, that would be kind of the history I think I'd like to know, except for maybe some of the stuff that like most of the stuff that I think that we would find in there would be amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
And, and part of the thing you say that history, and I think that what's most resilient about somebody is their failures. Some people are so afraid to try anything because they might fail. And
yeah,
if you want to be successful, you're going to meet failure at some point. That's as a given. That's a given. I always, if someone tells me they've never failed at anything in their life, I know one of two things must be true. They're either an absolute liar or they've never actually tried anything that challenges them.
yeah. I have a couple of a bunch of what we call banners for the audience, in case you wonder what I'm looking at over here. And I don't have the one I like this one that's up there right now. All the others are temporary. The one I was looking for, and I'm surprised I don't have it in here. I can explain it. Fail. Do you know? Do you have an? Do you know what that acronym is telling us?
I love good acronyms, but I've heard, yeah, go ahead, but fail.
First attempt in learning.
Yeah,
As long as we don't quit. Then if
as
we
long as you don't
quit, then
quit,
that's
that's it.
failing.
If you quit, that's the ultimate failure. That's
Yeah,
the ultimate
exactly.
fail.
Yeah. Yep. 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 I like that. All failure is temporary. When I coached hockey for 18 or so years, one of the things that I gleaned out of that, more as a coach than I did as a player, was that when I was coaching the kids, and I was fortunate I got to work with elite athletes, and they were driven, motivated, and wanted to play. They weren't just playing for fun. It was fun, but they
Mhm.
wanted to strive. Some were looking to get higher education, etc. Some made it, some didn't. Some were looking to get drafted
Yeah,
into the NHL. Some did, some didn't.
yeah,
They all had different aspirations. Were the main. I don't like losing. I prefer winning, but there's many gifts in the losses, in the
oh,
failing, in the
absolutely,
game, right? So that's how you get better and more
absolutely,
resilient. For the for the wins makes you better.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, yes, I mean, victory's exhilarating. We all want to be victorious, but sometimes you got to learn something about yourself in those moments of a loss and those moments of a defeat,
Yeah, like in a
and
marathon
it
or
creates it. Yeah, it creates a perfect opportunity for you. I call it the after action review. I learned that when I was an Army officer. You always, every time you have any kind of event, you always have an after action review. And so you're reviewing what went right, what went wrong, what can we do better next time? And you review, you got to be honest with yourself if you want to do it effectively. You got to be, I'd say, be radically honest about yourself,
I
not in a
never.
way that you're down, not that
Yeah,
you're downgrading yourself, but just be true. Just be honest with what it is you can, because as leaders, we all have our strengths. We also all have our weaknesses,
yes,
and you
that's
got to
true.
understand where your weaknesses are. And that's something that when I work with clients, we really want to understand what our weaknesses are, because if those areas that are weak, how can you, who can you fill into that place to delegate your authority
We're
and
on the
make your
same.
team stronger?
Yeah, we're on the same wavelength. I've never served. I didn't have the after action review, but I do have an after action review. It's called something else.
Hmm.
Quink. I get people to quink. Let's quink this, and they go, "What?" Knowing what I now know, what will I stop?
Yeah,
What will I start? What will I continue doing? So basically, it's an after action review. So, but
yeah.
just done differently. There's magic in that, right? You can say, hey, pat
Mhm.
yourself in the back for things that went well, kick yourself in the arse to get you going because you didn't live into your potential, and
Yeah.
not beat yourself up, but recognize where there's room for improvement and
Yeah,
go to kick your knife
exactly.
and sharpen it.
You mentioned hockey. You said you were a hockey coach. I mean, I love football, and I'm sure you can attest to this as hockey too. A team gets successful and they start reeling off a bunch of wins, and sometimes they can get it in their head. Hey, nobody's going to beat you. Get that kind of attitude, it's guaranteed you're going to lose. And the best coaches I've seen is sports coaches, hockey coaches, football coaches. Um, in their press conferences, yeah, they'll talk about what they did well, but they'll also talk about, hey, we got to improve here. We got to be better on defense in this situation. And so they're in tune with um, the overall success of the team. That's the mark of leadership. You, as a leader, you want that team to succeed.
Yep,
It's an ongoing process.
absolutely it is. You reminded me of something, then I forgot about it, but I forgot it now. I mean, I had it and then it disappeared. That happens. There's so many great things going on in my crazy brain that sometimes they just evaporate.
Yeah.
But leadership does. Where am I trying to go with this? There's a variety of different styles of leadership, and there's a coercive, and then there's inspiring, building others to another level.
Hmm.
I sense that I would say I've never served, so I'm going to say in the military old days there was a lot of coercive, do this or else, which is a way to
Yeah.
get shit done. However, in the
Yeah.
modern day world, it's easier to get people to do things, walk on barefoot on flames or over glass, metaphorically, if they're inspired and feel empowered. And there's a company in the U.S. called Barry Weimar. I might have screwed up the last name. The CEO's name is Bob Chapman, and what I like about what he's about is that he had an epiphany, like you were saying earlier. He was leading his business like the CPA,
Hmm.
metrics, forgetting about the people. And the epiphany he had, being a father and a husband, he realized if I ran my family the same way I ran my business, we'd be out of family. So he changed the way he
Yeah.
ran his business, and they were not only able to survive in a downturn, and when was it, '07? They actually thrived because of
Yeah.
his empowering his people. Is that something you believe in,
Oh,
or not?
absolutely. I believe that as a warrior, you need to live your life holistically, of body, mind, and spirit. Because we are that triumvirate of who we are. And so um, as men, sometimes I can definitely plead guilty to this. At one point, I was really wrapped around what I say, that 9 to 5 identity.
Mm,
And for men, I mean, think about it. You a lot of times men meet each other. What do you do? What is it you do? And that first thing, what is it you do? And they want to know, what that job is that you have. And it's got to be the right, if it's not the right caliber of job, then maybe you weren't part of that club.
uh,
Um, and so that 9 to 5 identity can really, take us in some bad. For me, it took me in some bad directions, in the sense that I was really wrapped up into it. And then when I started going through some corporate downsizing, you're like, all right, well, is this is this what I'm supposed to do? And what I will always tell people is that, we have these corporate positions, and I like to say I'm a corporate burnout survivor. But here's the thing about corporate positions: they're all going to come to an end at some point. Either you're going to retire, they're going to retire you, or the company's going to go out of business. So you got to have some plan. What is it you want? What is it you want beyond this 9 to 5 identity? That's just not all who you are. And when you live your life in that body, mind, and spirit way, that holistic way, you understand that you're more than just this 9 to 5. There's something more about you.
so
If you
I
if you're
understand and believe in what the theory that you're talking about. I've been there, done that. I've been identified by the vehicle, clothes, and positions I've had in life, and realized that's not who I am. And
yeah.
I have been taught things on how to get myself and others out of that. Do you have a methodology or a nugget you could share without giving all your trade
Yeah.
secrets away?
Yeah, I think that the most important thing whenever I work with somebody, the first thing we really want to do is to build that foundation. When I say your foundation, what are those truths that you have? We all have truths. You got to have your non-negotiable truths. These things are true. You're never going to change my mind on this. Then we have other truths that, okay, this is what I believe right now, and I could be convinced otherwise. But you got to understand what it is you truly believe, because that's everything. Every choice, every decision you make has to rest on that foundation. And so when the foundation is strong, you're starting to make better choices, because every choice we make has a consequence.
So would that be
So
like akin to core values?
core value, that's it. What are your core values? That's it exactly. What are your core values?
Yeah.
And you think about kind of go back to Bill, but the sports analogy, you know, if you're in any kind of athletic endeavor, the one thing that must be strong is your core, the core of your body, because everything that you do athletically feeds off that core. If your core is weak, you're not going to be able to do what it is you want. If whatever
Mm,
that your athletic endeavor is. So you need to start with your core. The core needs to be strong first, just as like in the core of your life, that foundational truths of your life. It needs to be strong, because you've got to understand your truths, because we're all going to arrive somewhere at some point in life. You might as well make it the destination you want. And when you are very clear on your core values, it brings that destination into clarity. And that's the thing that I always start with my clients. We got to really dig into those core truths of what it is to be true to you.
yeah. So what I want to do now is I want to just share where people can find out more about you. So I'm going to pop these up here.
Okay.
Here they come. So that's your LinkedIn profile. Ladies and
That's
gentlemen,
it.
don't panic. We got a way to help you see that better. And that's coming up
Okay.
right now. It's not you. Wrong guy. There we go.
There it is.
That's a way easier to see than trying to read this up here. That's too small. So anyway, LinkedIn.com, as Rob's right there. If you want to get to know him, get connected to him, want to send him a message. I'm looking over on that second monitor here so we can have a look. It says exactly what we're talking about here, empowering men to discover their inner warrior, the modern day warrior. So if you or someone you care about is looking for a way to get a leg up, so to speak, I think reaching out and have a chat with Rob to find out if there's a fit
Yeah.
makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And then the
It
other
does make
place,
it. I think that I was going to say, I think one of the things that's most important to men is you got to be in a brotherhood. You have to be in a brotherhood. And I think it's so valuable and so important for men to have other men in their lives, men that lift you up and don't hold you back.
lift you up, not hold you back. That's good sage knowledge. I like it. So this is your website. Tell us a little bit about what's here, what they can get, what they can find. You can schedule a
Yeah,
no
just a little
charge
bit from
discovery call.
yeah. It's just a little bit of information about my backstory, just who I was and who I become, and the journey that I've my life has been about, and how I want to take others on their help others to start their own journey,
Cool.
to find their legacy, build that significance of what they want.
Superb. Is there like one thing that if you were to wanted to share with the audience that you would, in 30 seconds, what's something to give them to hang on to?
There's power in community. And we live in this virtual world now, and this virtual world, AI, everybody's talking AI, but I think the one thing that will never go out of vogue is those authentic, personal, one-on-one relationships. And as men, find those men in your life, and be that man as well.
Yeah, I can't top that. So I'm not even going to try. Hey, I hate to kind of wrap this up, but we're at that point where we're at about the 30-minute mark and try to keep them in and around that space. Um, yeah, that was got my brain churning thinking about community and brotherhood, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like hockey. Probably one of the reasons why you like football, because there is that
Mhm.
brotherhood or getting a group of people together. Uh,
Yeah.
what I'm liking in today's world is a diversification of the hood, brotherhood and friendhood and femalehood,
Oh yeah.
right? All of it. That's why I call it the hood. It's the hood in the most
Good.
positive way. It's not all about men, but I like what you're doing. A couple of other guys in my local marketplace run men's groups, and
Yeah.
it's all about the same thing you're talking about: is to up men so that they're better fathers, better leaders, like themselves a lot better, and
Mhm.
live into their potential.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You talked about that hood, and I think the other thing that's important too is we got to get out of our silos, because it's easy, especially with social media and everything, it's real easy to get stuck in that silo and think everybody thinks exactly like I do. And when
Yeah.
you kind of get in those communities, you realize, hey, we all have diverse opinions and we can all have those conversations. And I can listen to what it is you believe in. I don't always have to necessarily believe it, but I can respect your opinion.
Yeah. There's value when the minds of two others get together. Napoleon Hill writes about that, called a mastermind principle. Get two minds together, a third one shows up, and something better
Eh,
usually can come out of that. Anyway,
Right.
um, I'm going to end the show, but I'm going to ask you to hang out back in the green room, have whatever you want. It's all in there. And no calories will be added if you consume whatever. Anyway, thanks for taking the time and hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it as well.
All right, man. Men, it's okay to get in groups of men. It's all right to support each other. Matter of fact, it's probably a really good idea. That's what I heard. To help wrap this up, one of the things I want to do is go to my marketing staff, media assets, because I want to remind you, whether you're a man or a woman or somewhere in between, teenager, senior citizen, legacy individual, remember this, that you are wonderful, and the you is you because you're unique in everything you do. So continue being your unique, your wonderful self. And until next time, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Business Renovator.
I get it done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.